From West Michigan Television, a special presentation. News 3's Severe Weather Special.
There's a tornado on the ground. Please take cover.
For a while, I thought the whole thing was going to come in on top of us, but with the noise and stuff, it was kind of scary, and it was real dark, and my daughter was hysterical.
I saw the big black cloud and yellow in the header, and it was rolling and rolling, and I jumped right in the house, in the basement.
Hello, West Michigan, and thanks for joining us for our severe weather special. We get the best of everything here in Michigan.
You know, spring is my favorite time of year when everything comes alive and turns green.
I don't know about you guys, but I like the fall when the leaves change colors, red, yellow, orange.
No, it's the summer. You're out on the beach or in the boat fishing.
One thing about in Michigan, though, you have to keep your eye on the sky.
Or let us help you keep track of things.
In the next half hour, Ron, Keith, and I will tell you about surviving nature's tough stuff. Every year there are about 800 tornadoes in the United States. Some skip through fields without hurting anybody, but other twisters prove to be deadly, like the one that hit near Joliet, Illinois in August of 1990, killing 29 people. Or the one that blew through the heart of Kalamazoo in 1980, right here in Bronson Park.
And all at once I heard the house start breaking up.
There was a tremendous vacuum, and I thought I was going to be pulled right out the back.
I turned around and watched the huge tornado go by, and I knew right then and there that there would be very little left of our homes.
These are just a few memories Kalamazoo residents have of the deadly tornado which crashed into the city in May of 1980. 5 people lost their lives that day, and there was $50 million in damage to homes, businesses, and churches. Downtown Kalamazoo resembled a war zone with broken glass, tree limbs, and flipped-over cars littering the streets. The tornado developed west of the city and destroyed many trees in its path. The Westwood neighborhood was the first residential area to be hit. The twister proceeded to the east, heading straight for downtown Kalamazoo. 2 people died when the skyway behind Gilmore's department store collapsed and the rear wall crumbled into the alleyway. It was a devastating picture, but it only proves that if you hear a tornado warning, you should respond quickly. More tornadoes occur in the American Midwest than any other part of the world. Tornado Alley is considered to be from northern Texas to eastern Nebraska, with a second and smaller area from central Illinois into southern Michigan. The deadliest tornado to strike Michigan hit the Flint area on June 8th of 1953, killing 116 people. In 1965, Ottawa and Kent counties were hard hit when a twister struck near Allendale and moved northeast toward Rockford. It happened on Palm Sunday and killed 47 people, making it the state's second worst. On the same day near Kinderhook in Branch County, the sirens wailed when a tornado dropped out of the thunderstorm. On its 90-mile path, it took the lives of 44 people. The United States averages more than 700 tornadoes per year. Texas usually the hardest hit with 119. Oklahoma averages 56 and Kansas 46, putting their ranking at 2 and 3. Michigan averages only 14 tornadoes a year, so we rank 20th. Most tornadoes in Michigan come during April through August, but they have occurred in every month of the year. Michigan ranks 20th in the average number of tornadoes each year, but we are 3rd in the United States in the average number of tornado deaths. That's because southern Michigan is more densely populated than the open spaces of Texas, Oklahoma, or Kansas. In a few moments, a few tips on what you should do if the sirens go off and the sky turns dark. We'll be right back. Out here in farm country, the flat plains south of Schoolcraft, you might be able to spot a twister come from a long way off, if you're looking for it.
Well, whether you see one coming or you hear a tornado warning broadcast by News 3, you're still only one step ahead of it. You have to know what to do without having to ask. There may not be time to ask. Here are a few simple safety tips to stay alive.
We're at Southwest and Jackson Highway, and we got damage as far as we can see. Damage as far as we can see.
Wichita Falls, Texas, April 1979. A massive tornado, a mile and a half wide, rips through the city. It leaves 46 dead. Incredibly, half were killed in automobiles, many trying to drive away from the storm. Ray Brodebeck is in charge of civil defense for Kalamazoo County. One of his jobs is to keep people informed about what to do in the event of a tornado, so that a storm like the one in Wichita Falls won't have the same result here.
Most of the tornado safety procedures are common sense type procedures that people, if they would just remember that this time of the year, usually from late March on through July and August, is our primary time for tornadoes that occur in this southwest area of Michigan.
The first thing to do if you're threatened by a tornado is seek shelter. But if you're caught outside and you can't find any shelter, get to a low-lying area, like a ditch or a ravine. But beware, tornadoes are usually preceded by heavy rain, which can send floodwaters rushing into low-lying areas. The last place to be in a tornado is an automobile. In fact, if you're in an automobile and you're threatened by a tornado, the best thing to do is to get out of the car and into a shelter or a low-lying area. Your chances of being hit by a tornado are much smaller if you're stationary rather than a moving target. When seeking shelter, look for a brick or block structure. Mobile homes are not safe in a tornado, even if they're anchored to the ground. If you're in a multi-level building, like a two-story house or an office building, go to the ground floor. Stay away from doors, windows, and outer walls. Find a small room, like a closet, and get inside. If possible, go to a basement. Basements provide the best protection in a tornado. We moved a little farther north now, John, as we continue our severe weather story. This is the Peter Bohr Farm on 20th Avenue near Gobles, where a tornado touched down back in May of '89. Now, Pete was lucky. He only lost his barn. Remember that night, Pete?
I lost the barn and my tool shed, my water shed over there.
Tell us what happened. What did you see?
Well, what I see, and I saw the big black cloud and yellow went together, and it was rolling and rolling, and the grass and the wall over there about flat, and I was on the corner over there, and I jumped right in the house, in the basement. But the first step that I make in the basement, it was all done.
If I remember right, Ron, you were on duty. John had the night off. You were doing play-by-play of the storm with Doppler radar.
That's exactly right, Keith, and what a night that was. Because of our elaborate storm forecasting system at News 3, including Doppler radar, we were able to issue warnings just as nasty storm cells came at us from the west. Here's more now about how all that happens. It may seem odd, but the initial tracking of severe weather begins in Kansas City, Missouri. That is where the Severe Storms Forecast Center is located. There, meteorologists monitor weather conditions such as wind speed and humidity from all over the country using computers and radar.
Well, the things that we're looking for may include the fairly intense low pressure area. Along with that low pressure area, a fairly intense cold front.
Jack Cooley is the chief meteorologist at the National Weather Service office in Grand Rapids. There are local offices in every state. Local observers usually spot severe weather first, but it is the national office that issues all severe weather watches. Helping out in the process of detecting severe storms are weather spotters. It is their job to actually confirm that a thunderstorm or tornado is in the area. They do this simply by going out and watching the sky.
We'll go out and observe the weather, and we'll report the severity of the thunderstorm to the Weather Service and as the Sheriff's Department. And we'll follow those storms and report them as they develop or as they should lose their strength and diminish.
Getting the information out is just as important as gathering the information, and that is where we at News 3 come in. We have two different radar systems to help track thunderstorms and tornadoes. We also rely on weather spotters and the National Weather Service to help gather the information. Then it is our job to get that information to you as quickly as possible.
Even so,
We do this by interrupting programming and showing the location and direction of an approaching storm. It is a life-saving service.
People that observed the safety rules and saved their lives. There was a grandfather near Maple Hill Mall, just to the north of Maple Hill Mall, that was babysitting his granddaughter. He heard the tornado warning. He saw the tornado approaching. He was near the front door of his home. He did not have time to go to the basement. He dashed in the front door with his granddaughter into the coat closet, closed the door, practically destroyed the house, but they were safe.
That's just a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes, John.
Thanks, Ron. Just ahead, we'll head to Plainwell to hear from the youngsters. The questions kids ask next on our Severe Weather Special. When I was a kid, I was fascinated with weather, especially thunderstorms. My teachers were a good source of information, but I wanted more. I wish my favorite meteorologist would visit my class and show me how thunderstorms were formed. Now that I'm a meteorologist, I try to make it to at least one classroom a week. That it was raining so hard inside this thunderstorm that he almost drowned. Throughout the year, I'll visit more than 50 schools in West Michigan. No matter if they're first graders or seniors in high school, there is always an interest in weather. The kids ask me all kinds of questions, and here are just a few of the most asked.
How are tornadoes formed?
This is probably the most asked question. The way I answer it is by comparing it to baking a cake. In a cake you need ingredients such as milk, eggs, flour, and sugar. For a tornado, some ingredients needed are warm, moist air at low levels, dry air at the upper levels, a strong jet stream, and a triggering device such as a cold front. If you are missing one of these ingredients or elements, the tornado won't form and won't be very large. Much like a cake would be without the eggs or the flour. Brittany Ire of Star Elementary School in Plainwell asks,
how is hail formed?
Let me draw a thunderstorm first. We have our bottom of our thunderstorm. Hail forms in the strong updrafts of a thunderstorm. As the rain droplet falls, the strong winds push it back up into the cloud. There it freezes. As it comes back down, other rain droplets collect on that piece of ice. The process is repeated, and the hail becomes even larger. The hail finally falls to the ground when it gets so heavy, the updraft can't hold it up any longer. They have found frogs inside hail, they have found a fish inside hail, and they've also found turtles inside hail. And it's all due to the... Another question I frequently hear comes from Aaron Porter.
What's thunder?
Thunder is the rapid expansion of air next to a lightning bolt. Simply put, lightning is very hot. As warm as 30,000 degrees of heat is produced by this lightning bolt. This heat rapidly warms and expands the air next to the lightning bolt. This sudden expansion causes a shock wave, and it's that shock wave which we hear as thunder. Lightning can go from cloud down to the ground, from the ground up to the cloud, or from cloud to cloud. I would like to thank Mrs. Willett's third grade class here at Star Elementary School in Plainwell for letting us bring our cameras into our classroom. Unfortunately, Keith, kids really do need to know about severe weather and what to do.
That's true, John. And now we're going to take you to Gull Lake to bring you a very tragic story about nature's #1 killer, lightning. It can hit too close to home. 11-year-old Matthew Fevig of Cooper Township was playing with two friends on this island in Gull Lake, July 9th, 1987. There were thunderstorms in the distance, but none was thought to pose any danger. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck Matthew.
The three kids were running around in the front yard, and two of them ran up to the deck to get some firecrackers. It was right after the 4th of July. And they turned around and Matt was on the ground.
Matthew suffered brain damage as a result of the lightning strike. His family has suffered since.
It just changed all of our lives from that second on.
On March 9th, 1991, nearly 4 years after the lightning bolt hit him, Matthew moved back into his own home for the first time after extensive hospital and rehabilitative care. Lightning is as deadly as it is spectacular. In most years, it kills more Americans than tornadoes, hurricanes, and all other storms combined. In 1989, 67 people were killed by lightning in the U.S. Most years, it's about 85. The temperature of a lightning bolt can be as high as 50,000 degrees, nearly 5 times as hot as the sun. To see how much you know about lightning, take this short true-false test. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Answer, false. Tall structures may be hit repeatedly. If outside, the best shelter from lightning is under a tree. Answer, false. The rule of thumb is the taller the object, the greater its chance of being hit by lightning. A Virginia man is known to have survived 7 lightning strikes, but he's lucky. Every year, many people are struck by lightning and never recover. And John, perhaps that will help people understand why we take so much time to issue warnings about dangerous thunderstorms.
Thanks, Keith.
And next, storms and Lake Michigan. I'll tell you what the two have to do with each other. Coming up. Lake Michigan has a profound effect on the weather. Here at Pier Marquette Park in Muskegon, as fronts move across the lake, they strengthen or weaken an approaching storm. Today, Lake Michigan is calm. Her waves beat quietly up against the chunks of ice that have formed close to the shore. But on some days, Lake Michigan can roar with such fury, the effects can be felt for miles. On December 4th, 1990, more than 14 inches of snow fell on parts of West Michigan. Motorists were stranded everywhere, but in some parts of West Michigan, not a flake fell. The effects of the lake can be felt throughout the year. In the winter, cold air moving across Lake Michigan gets warmer by a transfer of heat up from the lake. The air then becomes moist. The warmer, moist air then becomes unstable. It rises and forms clouds. When the warm, moist air rises, it hits colder air, which causes snow to fall on West Michigan. Depending on the wind, temperature, and amount of moisture, some areas can receive heavy snow, while others can receive little or none. In the summer, a thunderstorm can be enhanced by Lake Michigan, or can be dissipated by the lake, depending on which elements are involved in the developing storm. If the thunderstorm developed because of a cold front, the lake can become a source of moisture. It will make the thunderstorm stronger. But if the thunderstorm is developed by the heat of the day, the lake can cause the storm to fall apart when it passes over the cooler lake waters. The effects of the lake play a big part on West Michigan's weather. It can strongly moderate the climate and produce some weather twists that occur in few other areas of the world. News 3 Severe Weather Special will continue.
As we bring this special half hour to a close, we'd like to acknowledge the bright side of things.
West Michigan is a fantastic place to be.
And one of the main reasons is the change of seasons.
At least that's what people tell us.
I really enjoy the summer, especially I'm originally from down south, as a matter of fact, and I like to have my friends up here from down south to really show off, if you will, all the seasons, I guess. And I kind of like the snow.
Well, I like springs and falls in Michigan. Beautiful. Those are the two I enjoy the most, I think. We have a pretty good-sized garden. We raise quite a lot in it. Potatoes, all vegetables we care for, just about.
Parking cars in the freezing rain isn't too great. I've done that the last couple of weekends.
I hate this mud. You have to work in it and get cattle to feed, and it's a lot of work. You know, you're wallering in mud all the time, and you track it in the house. And I like the falls and the snow, because we go cross-country skiing and bird hunting in the fall and deer hunting.
Oh, the spring. I went to enjoy a little bit walk today. I live in Kalamazoo. So I'm excited to come out and walk along the road.
You might say we can help you feel even better about the weather.
You might say that.
Oh, God, you... All right, I did my line.